Hello and welcome to everyone who is joining us live on Zoom, and welcome to anyone who's watching the recording of this program showcase. As Allison said, I'm Professor Kevin Hinckley. I teach in the Political Science Department. I serve as the director of Niagara's Pre-Law Advisement Program and as a co-director of the Justice House program. I'm delighted to be with all of you, and I'm looking forward to telling you more about Niagara's pre-law advisement program. But first, we are joined by three very special guests who I'd like to briefly introduce. First, Ethan DeRosa, who graduated from NU in 2019 with his BA in political science. Ethan earned admission to several of the nation's top law schools, including William and Mary, the University of North Carolina, George Mason, and St. John's. Ethan has recently returned to NU to work as contracts administrator and paralegal in the University General Counsel's office. We're also joined by two of our most outstanding current students. Marissa Eames is a junior psychology major with minors in law and jurisprudence and philosophy. In 2021, Marissa was selected for the Discover Law Undergraduate Scholars Program at the University of Buffalo School of Law. And in spring 2022, she completed the Cornell Law School Diversity Outreach Program. Last May, Marissa was inducted into the International Legal Honor Society Phi Delta Phi, Belva Lockwood Hall. And last summer, she interned at Hodgson Russ LLP, one of the leading law firms in Buffalo and all of New York State. Caroline LeBron is a junior political science and sociology double major with minors in law and jurisprudence, women's studies, and inequality, race, and justice. Caroline serves in leadership roles across campus, including in NU student government, residence life, the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and the Pre-Law Student Association. Caroline has completed legal internships in her home state of California, and she's currently interning for a judge on the Lewiston Town Court. Thank you to our panelists for joining us, and in just a few minutes, I will turn to our panelists to share their perspective as alumni and current students. So what I'd like to do, I have a brief presentation, so let me share my screen if the technology cooperates. And in our time together, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about our pre-law program, which is open to students in all majors who are interested in law. And our pre-law program is designed to help students navigate the path to law school or other legal careers. And I'd like to highlight three pillars of Niagara's pre-law program that set us apart from other colleges and universities, not only in Western New York, but nationwide. The first of these is one-on-one advisement. This is the centerpiece of our program. Starting when students arrive on campus for summer orientation, I meet regularly with pre-law students to provide information, guidance, and advice. And the first step really is helping students decide whether law is the right choice for them. So it's a priority for our pre-law students to learn about the various fields of law and career possibilities as a lawyer or in legal careers that don't require a law degree. For students who continue on the law school track, I serve as a resource and guide through every step of the law school application process, from maximizing your score on the LSAT, the law school admission test, to writing effective law school admissions essays, and ultimately choosing a law school that will help you achieve your aspirations in the law. The second pillar of our pre-law program comprises courses and internships. The quality and breadth of law-related courses at Niagara University sets us apart from other colleges and universities in Western New York and undergraduate programs of any size nationwide. In addition to our introductory survey course on American law, the Political Science Department offers courses in constitutional law, civil rights, civil liberties or First Amendment, healthcare law, mental health law, environmental law, and international law, among others. And departments across campus offer courses focusing on different areas of law in the legal system, including criminal law and trial advocacy, business law, sports law, even philosophy of law. Niagara offers a minor in law and jurisprudence, which again is open to students from all majors. We also strongly encourage students to complete a legal internship, which we help to arrange. So in recent years, students have interned with state and federal judges, in district attorneys' offices and attorney general's offices, and with criminal defense attorneys and public defenders, as well as in law firms across the state. The central goal is to ensure that students have the legal skills, theoretical knowledge, and practical experience that they'll need to succeed in law school and beyond. And Ethan may be able to talk a little bit about that. One of the courses that I mentioned, constitutional law, is modeled on a first-year course at Harvard Law School. We focus on U.S. Supreme Court opinions interpreting the Constitution, deciding the constitutionality of federal treaties, state and federal laws, and government regulations of all kinds. I really like this picture because the Supreme Court has been called the storm center of American politics, because the Supreme Court is called on sooner or later to address the most controversial and vexing issues that the nation faces. This description proved especially apt in the court's most recent term, which ended with a series of momentous decisions in the areas of abortion, the Second Amendment, environmental law and the U.S. response to climate change, free exercise of religion and freedom of speech under the First Amendment, Miranda rights, and much more. Throughout our course on constitutional law, which I happen to be teaching this semester, we learn about the Supreme Court justices who decide constitutional cases. And here you have the justices as they are seated on the bench when they're hearing oral argument. And in a moment, we'll have a quiz where you can name all of the Supreme Court justices, or we'll see how many that you can name. Just kidding about that. No quiz. The third pillar of our program is the Pre-Law Student Association, which sponsors an extraordinary array of events throughout the year. And these include guest speakers and opportunities to interact with lawyers and judges. Here's a picture from our event last month at Niagara Falls State Park to celebrate World Rivers Day and the designation of the Niagara River as a wetland of international importance under the Ramsar Convention, an international treaty. Pre-law students met with the director of the University at Buffalo School of Law's Clinical Legal Education Program and student attorneys from the law school's Environmental Advocacy Clinic. We also played Ramsar Bingo, searching out plant and animal species of importance. And some of us were more successful in finding those species than others. I won't tell you how I did. We also visit law schools and attend legal conferences. So in 2019, the last time that we traveled due to the pandemic, a group of 14 pre-law students went to the National Law School Forum in Boston, where students met with representatives from over 100 law schools from across the country. We also visited Suffolk Law School in downtown Boston, where students sat in on a law school class and met with another Niagara pre-law alumnus, Chris Selak, who's now a mergers and acquisitions associate at PwC in Boston. And of course, we toured Elle Woods's alma mater, Harvard Law School. I'm delighted that we'll be returning to Boston later this week for the National Law School Forum. We'll be visiting with Niagara Pre-Law alumni. We'll be taking tours of Boston University Law School and returning to Harvard Law. Spring, our students go to Washington, D.C. to attend oral arguments at the U.S. Supreme Court. And the court has just reopened to the public for oral arguments. with the start of the court's new term in October. And this means that we will be able to return to the court to again attend oral arguments this spring. Before the pandemic, in recent years, we've been able to arrange behind the scenes tours of the court, lunches with Supreme Court advocates, and even a private meeting with one of the justices. I mentioned the International Legal Honor Society. NU pre-law students who meet rigorous academic, professional, and ethical standards can earn induction into Phi Delta Phi, as Marissa did last spring. And I'm very happy to give a sneak preview of the new home of Niagara's pre-law advisement program, Baylo Hall, which will be our home. We have just opened our new pre-law advisement center, and you can see some pictures from inside Baylo Hall, our pre-law library, and the future home of the NU Moot Courtroom. We also have an international room, a United Nations room, and so much more in Baylo Hall. So anyone who is with us live, or if you are watching the recording and would like to come on campus, I would be happy to host you in any of my classes and to give you the full tour of Baylo Hall. But for now, a sneak preview. So the last thing that I would like to highlight before I turn to our distinguished panel, outcomes. And the pre-law program at Niagara University has a proven track record of helping students earn admission to the best law schools in the country. And here I speak from personal experience. Not too many years ago, I was sitting where you are, deciding where to go to college, and I chose Niagara. The education that I received as a Niagara pre-law student opened doors that I had barely dreamed of. After Niagara, I went on to Harvard Law School. I clerked for a United States Circuit Judge in St. Louis, and I worked at an international law firm in Washington, D.C. In 2015, I came back to Niagara to teach and mentor the next generation of Niagara pre-law students. So I'm delighted that you'll get a chance to hear from two current students, Marissa and Caroline, who are excelling in every facet of the program. Over the past 7 years, Niagara pre-law students have achieved remarkable results. Our recent graduates have earned admission to the law schools at Georgetown, Northwestern, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State, and William and Mary, to name just a few. And we have strong pipelines to the University at Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany, and other law schools in New York. We've introduced a new accelerated bachelor's to JD 3+3 program that allows highly qualified students to earn their bachelor's and their law degree in a total of 6 years instead of the typical 7. And we have partnered with UB Law and St. John's in New York to make this 3+3 program possible. In just a few minutes, you'll get to hear from an exceptional young alumnus of our program, Ethan DeRosa. And on this last slide, I've provided my email address. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions that we're not able to address during our time together, or if you're watching on a recording of today's session. And I would again encourage you to schedule a visit to our campus if you haven't already. You'd be more than welcome to sit in on classes, to meet with current students, to take a tour of our new Justice Center in Baylo Hall. So as I end my presentation, I just want to thank you again for taking the time to learn about our pre-law program. And I hope that you will decide to join Niagara's pre-law program next fall. So I will stop sharing my screen and ask our panel to share your thoughts and share something about your experience as a Niagara pre-law student. And if I could ask Ethan to get us started.
Sure. Thank you for the very kind introduction, Professor Hinckley. So I began college at Niagara University in 2015. It was actually my very first class was Introduction to Law. And it was, in fact, I believe Professor Hinckley's very first day of teaching, no less. So it was quite the introduction into Niagara. And automatically, it was clear that I had made the right decision to attend Niagara University. Seeing that class, it was a very informative class. I'd say it really set the tone for what college was going to be like and what I wanted it to be. And I mean, it was a wonderful match. It was a wonderful introduction to law. I've now been to law school and seen now a comparison of how Niagara's courses compare to an actual law school curriculum. And I not to not to speak too boldly or anything, but in some ways, the classes at Niagara were sometimes more informative and more helpful, and just on the same level as the courses that I've seen in law schools. Um, they Professor Hinckley and the other professors at NU take it very seriously. They really want to introduce you to these concepts, to not only teach you sort of the information that you'd get in law school, but also to sort of introduce you to the skills that you'll use. It's not conducted quite as intensely as a law school class is conducted, but it does ease you into it and get you used to thinking on your feet and thinking analytically. Thankfully, the professors are very kind and patient when it comes to new students who maybe have no experience in law. But I mean, it was a wonderful sort of introduction, and it did a lot to prepare me, I think, for law school in a very concrete sort of way. I had the chance to take introduction to law. I took constitutional law at NU, which Professor Hinckley cited to a moment ago, which is a wonderful class. I took international law. I even took criminal law with a judge at NU, which was a wonderful experience. And I just had a wonderful time. I mean, the law program in particular, I think at NU is quite exceptional, and that alone I think is worth attending. But it extends to several other related facets to law, like political science. Political science was my major. I minored in pre-law. I also minored in economics and international studies. So those law classes, I think, set a standard for academia that you can then apply to any other areas of interest that you have while attending. So I think that's a very wonderful thing.
Thank you so much, Ethan. Could I ask Marissa or Caroline anything that you'd like to share about your experience so far?
Yeah, so I've had an amazing experience within the pre-law program thus far. I'm very appreciative of the classes that have been offered. I feel like I've taken classes that not a lot of schools have. I've taken mental health law, race in the law, and women in the law. I've found new passions that I've never had before. Within women in the law, I found my passion for women's studies and the feminist legal movement. And I'm just so appreciative of my newfound passions. Coming into Niagara University, I had no prior knowledge of the law. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And as a junior, I've had the amazing opportunity to do internships and apply what I've learned within the classroom into real world experiences. And because of that, I found different skill sets and different passions of mine and what I want to take on within my future career endeavors. Right now, I'm interning within the Lewiston Town Court, and it's an amazing experience to see not only how the law is applied, but the lived experiences of different individuals. I see how the law really impacts and is purposeful within how the law plays its role within our world and within our society. So it really goes down to my core values of how I want to be compassionate and help those around me. So I've had so many amazing experiences thus far, and I really encourage looking into the pre-law program and finding out what law is right for you.
Thank you, Caroline. Marissa?
Hi, everyone. So coming to NU, like Professor Hinckley said, I am a psychology major as well as a philosophy and law minor. I really had no idea that I wanted to go into law in the first place. I always knew I was interested in the legal aspect. I've always been into true crime, watching court cases, documentaries, but other than that, I never really knew where I wanted to go. I went to a club fair and I saw the Pre-Law Association, which was kind of my first introduction to the legal community here at NU. After that, I would receive emails from Professor Hinckley in the Pre-Law Association, connecting me to UB's Discover Law program, which I did the summer of 2021. Through there, I met my mentor, Jodianne Galvin. She's a partner at Hodgson Russ. She opened up a lot of doors for me. I did intern at Hodgson Russ last summer, and I hope to continue to intern there. It's really great. It wasn't necessarily a legal internship. It was more of the administrative side, but they did make sure that we got a lot of experience in so many different aspects. I got a lot in immigration. I did part of the volunteer lawyer project that I got to work with actual clients. I also was able to tour courts. I was also connected with Judge Kevin Carter at the Erie County Family Court through Professor Hinckley, actually. He encouraged me to go speak to him, which was great. And then also on campus, we were able to meet Attorney Benjamin Crump a few semesters back, which was a really great experience to have someone that big set foot on campus. I think all these aspects make the law program at NU worth a shot because you never know what you could be interested in.
Thank you, Marissa. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And it looks like we're joined by another student. Lorelei, are you here with us?
I am. Hi.
Yes, thank you for joining. So Lorelei is a first-year political science and criminal justice double major in the University Honors Program. Lorelei is pursuing academic minors in law and jurisprudence, peace and justice studies, American Sign Language, and Deaf Studies. Lorelei is a member of the NU Mock Trial Team, as well as the Pre-Law Student Association, Circle K, and Active Minds, among other organizations. And she serves as work study student for the Justice House program and the Vincentian Center for Justice. And on World Rivers Day, Ramsar Bingo, Lorelei was one of the big winners.
I was the first.
Yes, yes. So welcome, Lorelei. Would you like to talk a little bit about your experience as a Niagara pre-law student so far?
Yeah, to start off, I was late because I was actually at Pre-Law Association. So that's fun. Yeah, I've had so many different experiences so far. One very notable event is we went to downtown Buffalo, and I was actually a juror for a mock trial competition essentially, and it was like an all-day thing, and it was amazing. We really got to watch like a trial simulation, and we actually got to help decide on who won or not. So that was fascinating. I personally liked, watching them actually be lawyers instead of being a juror myself, but it was an amazing learning opportunity. Like Professor Hinckley was talking about, there's also World Rivers Day. That was a good learning opportunity. We learned about the nature around us and like different environmental law aspects. And we also got to meet different people at the Buffalo School of Law, which was amazing. What else? I went to an equity conference last week. That was amazing. It really one of the side groups was actually I got to talk to a attorney who works at a hospital right now. So I got to learn a little bit more about that and how they're really working in the field right now to make it more inclusive and really build the equality aspect. So that was extremely interesting. Right now, we're also working on with the Justice House Justice Speaker Series. We've had, I believe, 1 or 2 so far that we've been able to bring students in, whoever wanted to, and we would just like promote it on social media, which is actually one of my bigger jobs with my work study at the Justice House right now. I really work on, we come up with like a different schedule each month. So right now it is Native American Indian Heritage Month, and so we're promoting different stories about that, and then a different topic every Friday. And then we work on promoting different events we're working on. For example, soon we're going to be promoting our environmental simulation, which is an amazing learning opportunity. It really gets you involved, not even just with environmental, with the legal aspect as well. So yeah, I've already been offered so many different learning opportunities, and Professor Hinckley and I are even looking for me to get an internship for next semester, which is very exciting. And yeah.
Thank you, Lorelei.
Yeah.
And I should mention, we invite questions. If you have any questions that you'd like to pose for our panelists, you can put those in the chat at any time. And I have a question for Marissa. So as a psychology major, how does pre-law fit together with your study of psychology?
So psychology, I was very interested in the brain and our cognitive functions and all of that. Well, it doesn't necessarily go hand in hand in many ways, it does in other ways. So I think it's really cool to be able to apply the knowledge of the brain and our functions to why maybe people do certain things, and like apply that to the law, forensic law, whatever you want, criminal, it applies to a lot of different things. So I actually really enjoy psychology, and for if you ever have any struggle, because I was one of those that doubted kind of law, I really liked psychology and I really liked medical. So I was doubtful, but I ended up finding my way. So I think that's important too, to try to discover all of your interests before narrowing it down to just one.
Yes, that's great advice. And Marissa will be pursuing research that brings together psychology and the law. So I want to just emphasize that at Niagara's pre-law program, you can major in any field and be a pre-law student. So you can also major in psychology, you can major in criminal justice, political science, international studies. I work with students who are biology majors, students who are business majors. So our program is designed to be able to fit together with whatever major field of study that you are interested in pursuing, and you can build into that curriculum, building your knowledge of law and your knowledge of pre-law to prepare you for success in law school and in your career. Caroline, can you talk a little bit about all of your engagement on campus? So you are a student leader in so many different ways on campus, and how has that enriched your experience in college?
Yeah, so being a student leader is very rewarding. I get to apply everything I've learned within my classes to real world experiences. For instance, a few semesters ago, I took mental health law, and it was a very enriching class, and I got to learn a lot about 2 different fields of study. And as of now, within my leadership role in NUSCA, I'm taking on an initiative of spreading mental health awareness for men. And we're filming a video and trying to spread awareness on campus. So a lot of being a student leader is taking what you're passionate about regarding whether it's equity in the law or diversity, equity, inclusion, or you're passionate about criminal law. So you want to help get into the foundation of where and what makes a criminal. You could take those passions and turn it into real world experiences. And that's what I'm able to do, which I love. As a CA, I get to help foster community on campus and spread compassion, growth, and opportunity. I have one resident that I've been guiding within advancing with her own journey in the pre-law as a freshman. So it's really amazing to see myself and her when I was a freshman just 2 years ago. So it's very rewarding, and it's an amazing career development opportunity, as well as I hope to use all these skills that I've learned right now within my career in 10 or 20 years from now.
Excellent, excellent. And it's such good advice for any student coming into college. Get involved, be engaged, and find what your passions are and how you can connect those not only to what you're studying in the classroom, but outside the classroom. And then I have a question for Ethan. So I know that as part of your experience at Niagara, you got a chance to be a moot court advocate. So you got to step into the shoes of a lawyer arguing a case in constitutional law, in international law. Can you talk about that experience and how that prepared you for law school?
Yes. So as I distinctly remember, with fear and trembling. No, not as fear and trembling. A very sort of exciting sort of stress of engaging in a moot court competition and the thrill of it all, and it is entirely thrilling, and even the process of preparing for it. We had a fake scenario that was loosely based off of some real facts, and we had to prepare our case and consult. We each had, I think we were in teams of 3 in my class, and so you collaborate with your fellow attorneys, and you come up with strategies for oral argument, and you try to address things from all angles, and it really puts you in the shoes of a lawyer in a very accurate way, right? I mean, that is exactly what you'll end up doing in law school and beyond, right? And so it was quite fun, I have to say. It's one of those experiences that during it, it might occupy all sorts of nightmares at the time, but then looking back on it, you realize it was one of the greatest experiences of your time at college.
Yes.
So can't recommend it enough.
Yes, yes. And great preparation then for law school and legal research and writing.
Absolutely.
Courses that have a moot court or a mock trial component, having actually done it as an undergraduate, having gone through that trial.
Yeah, that's
is
right. That's
really
right.
beneficial.
Well, and that's honestly a wonderful theme of the pre-law program, right? Is that no matter what, like I would be on campus and I would hear from people who weren't in the pre-law program, right? These rumors of how stressful it must be, and how intimidating, right? But for those of us who were in it, you're like, no, it's not scary at all. I mean, it was so much. Again, it's the thrill of it, the fun of it, and you don't realize at the time you're going through it how much you're actually learning about law, about being a lawyer, about the sort of skills you'll use in law school and professionally. And again, I mentioned it when I first spoke, but I'll mention it again, right? It does a wonderful job of introducing these things to you in a way that doesn't feel intimidating, right? I mean, I was saying sort of playfully earlier about, just the stress of going through it. But again, it's a wonderful sort of stress, and it's very accessible. No matter your expertise in law going into it, if you have any experience or no experience whatsoever, it's very accessible, and it really, it trains you very well, I guess is the way to put it.
Yes, I still have fond memories of my own moot court experiences as a student at MU. Allison, do we have any questions that have come in from the chat?
We don't have any questions at this point.
Okay, so I guess I would ask our panelists if you have any concluding thoughts, any words of wisdom for students who are deciding on pre-law or deciding where to go to college.
One
Lorelai,
thing
what
I
do you
really,
think?
yeah, one thing I really liked, there's so many different minor options. So if you were interested in like criminal justice, like me, how I am double majoring, you wouldn't have to double major. You could always major in one and then also minor in the other. One thing I love about Niagara is we have so many different minoring options. Like there's also computer crime and different economic crime class like minors and stuff. And so there's so many different options. And one great thing is you could just start off taking, like right now I'm taking intro to law. You could start off just by taking that to see if you're interested, because we cover so many different types of law in that one class that you get to like get the feeling of it, but like roughly see, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, so you really get to take a grasp of it, and it's just an amazing opportunity, and it really goes with your schedule. So like a lot of classes are so in line with each other. So like I'll be looking at my political science list, my criminal justice, and my law and jurisprudence, and I'll be like, okay, I have to take that class, and it checks off that and that. And so it really does align with so much with each other, and there's just so many different options with majors and minors.
Yes, so looking at those opportunities and studying what you are most interested in, I think that's a recipe for success, particularly for students on the law school track, where demonstrating academic excellence is so important. Thank you, Lorelai. Caroline or Marissa, any concluding thoughts or words of wisdom?
Yes, so word of wisdom I would give to incoming students is you got this. Niagara University's pre-law program is an amazing program that really fosters community. There has been so many instances where students have helped me and uplifted me in giving me resources or opportunities that I didn't know of. Right now, there's a group of students that are all helping each other study for the LSAT. We all give each other resources, helping people sign up for Handshake. Let's get you an internship. It's very community driven. The class sizes range from 10 to 30 students. So it really is a time for interesting discussion within the classroom. For my law classes, I would sit next to a nursing major and me in a pre-law route, and then another marketing major, and just seeing all the different academic studies coming together to talk about a specific law-related topic is just so interesting and really has enriched my academic and career endeavors. So I would highly recommend it. And Niagara University is just an amazing, wonderful community.
Oh, thank you, Caroline. And Caroline, one of the co-founders of the LSAT Student Study Group, meeting on Saturdays in Balo Hall, just so impressive, and goes to show the commitment and the collaboration and the community that Caroline described. Marissa, any concluding thoughts?
Yeah, going off of what Caroline said, I think that there is such a community on NU's campus, especially with the students and their professors. It is really, really easy to build a really genuine connection with your professors here at NU. I would like to point out that when I took Intro to Law a couple semesters ago, it was my first time having Professor Hinckley. We do these student data sheets where you fill out information about yourself. And I put that I was part of UB's Discover Law, and Professor Hinckley actually reached out to me to have a meeting and discuss my future, whatever I wanted to talk about. So that was just a small example of how easy it is to connect with professors, and they can guide you wherever you need to go.
Thank you, Marissa. Ethan, you can have the last word. It's all on you.
Oh, no. Well, so I'm glad that the other panelists touched on one thing in particular, which I think is very important, which is that sense of community. I would say, you know, being in the pre-law program, no matter what you decide to do, one thing that it absolutely achieves is it gives you a set of people who are all driven, who are all incredibly intelligent and dedicated students who come from all sorts of walks of life and have all sorts of interests. And so, you're immediately sort of welcomed into a community of people who are all, trying to move forward in the same way. And it's just a wonderful sort of introduction to college to start off, right? And then the other thing I think is important to highlight is that, no matter what you decide to do, just being a part of the pre-law program, or even just taking a pre-law class at NU, I think it teaches you skills that you can use across all of your classes, no matter what you decide to major in. And then a wonderful thing about law is that there is a law of XYZ, just about anything you can think of, really. There's a law of it. There's laws like governance, right? There's ways that law intersects with it. And so even if you don't decide to go on law school, I think that having experience, in taking a pre-law class, and there are so many pre-law classes now, more, I think, than when I was a student, it I think elevates whatever you want to do. If you want to major in business, take a business law course. If you want to major in psychology, take the mental health law course. If you want to major in international studies, take the international law course. You don't have to be, a political science major interested in going to law school to get a lot out of it. You will, and now I can say, having graduated, right, and seen a little bit of the professional world, I can say that having some sort of knowledge of and experience, or just a little bit of a familiarity with law, I think elevates you as a candidate in the professional world, more so than anybody or people who don't have any experience or knowledge of or any familiarity with it. So I think it really does achieve a lot for you sort of within college, that will help you sort of propel you forward to get the most out of college. But I think it also prepares you for your career in a lot of important ways. So those are the things I wanted to touch on.
Very good. Well, nicely said. Thank you, Ethan. And thank you again to all of our panelists to share your experience, to talk with students who are making this big decision about where to go to college. I really appreciate you taking the time, and to everyone who has joined us live, anyone watching the recording, and certainly if you have questions, if you haven't had a chance to ask your questions, you can email Allison at boland@niagara.edu. You can email me at khinkley@niagara.edu. If you reach out to our admissions team, they can put you in touch with me, with any of our panelists, and I hope that you will come and visit us in person on campus, sit in on a class, come and visit the Justice Center in Balo Hall. And I really appreciate the chance to spend some time together and to tell you more about our pre-law program.
Thank you, Professor Hinckley, so much. We have so many visit opportunities coming up. This coming Friday, we have a Discovery Day for students. You can go right online and sign up for that. We also have an open house coming up in November. I believe it's November 19th, a Saturday in November. And if you're on tonight, that actually qualifies you for the first round of the Visit Scholarship, the Eagle Experience. So now all you have to do is apply by November 19th to qualify for that $5,000 and be accepted. So if you have questions about that, please feel free to email me. And I know that Marissa also put her email in the chat. It's always nice to hear a perspective from a current student as opposed to an admissions counselor who is not going through what you're going through. But if you have questions, let us know. And we so appreciate you all joining us. And thank you to all of our panelists for taking the time out of your night to join us as well. So thank you and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week.